Hello everyone, welcome back to Limited Forging, I guess. I noticed I had called it that in some YouTube descriptions, so I should probably actually start calling it that. I think that's a good enough name as any. This is the show in which we play Magic the Gathering using AI-generated cards, utilizing Urza's artificial intelligence. Today I'm going to be walking through how to use Urza's AI to play sealed Magic, or at least one way to do so, and then play a series best of 3 with my girlfriend B, who will be on shortly. The process that I'm going to talk about right now is uses the deck builder function. It's a relatively new addition to the website, and it is intended to let you generate full decks of cards. Personally, I'm not that interested in that feature of it. If you do go check it out, you will see, and I'll show this later, but it will generate a series of cards based on a template, and the template, unless I'm mistaken, is like human curated, right? So it's less interesting to me as someone who's looking for this as a means of doing the AI. It also means that you're often going to have the same distribution of creatures and non-creature spells and other things like that, because it's just randomly picks a template out of its list of templates. But what I realized is that when you go and you can edit that template, but one thing that you can do is you can remove the templated mana cost and the templated creature type, and all it generates the card based on at that point is the deck name that you submitted. So today, in an effort to see if we can generate quick packs and play a game for low barrier of entry, easy quick pick up and play sort of casual Magic, we are going to enter pack names as our deck names, generate 15 card draft packs, throw them all together, split them between the two of us, and play some games. I figure this would also work really well for like a Winston draft. We're just going to be playing it sealed though for the sake of expediency. And because, since it's AI-generated cards, you're not going to have to worry about rarity, really, right? Any card has the potential to be as broken as any other card. So we're going to take our 90 cards total, 45, 15 per pack, 6 packs between the two of us, shuffle them together, split them into 2 even piles, and those are going to be our individual sealed pools. The theory is that you don't need as many cards in an AI-generated sealed pool as you would in real Magic, because the color distribution will not be as broad. The way that these packs we're going to be making work is that they're generally going to be hitting similar color distribution, like 2 or 3 colors across the entire pack, because they're all based on that same name. Think of it as if Wizards released not just like set packs, but like faction packs. Like instead of buying a pack of Strixhaven, you could buy a pack of Witherbloom or Lorehold. That's sort of the kind of things that you end up generating, and I'm very excited to see how it plays out. That was maybe a bit of a rambly intro, so let's jump right into it. When you go to Urza.ai, you will see this. This is where you can put in the card name, forge, all that stuff. But if you scroll down, you will see the advanced options, which a lot of people like. I'm not a huge fan, but there's also the Try New Deck Builder. You can also go directly to Urza.ai/deck. So we click on that, and it gives us this. We can put in the name of our deck. We can say how many colors it is, which color specifically. You need to select at least one, or it won't let you forge the deck. And you can choose the deck type. We're going to just put in some placeholder text here, forge our deck, and then stop it immediately. What we actually want, though, is this JSON file. So we're just going to quickly say update from JSON so that it stops generating any cards before, just in case anything is in the middle of processing. And this is what we're going to edit. So we're going to change the mana cost, the types, and then remove those. And then we are left with our deck name. So we're going to put in a couple of different decks. Basically, I have chosen 3 pack names, and these could be anything. They could be something that we think would be a cool name for a set. They could be something that would be a cool name for a faction, or they could be sort of a general theme. I made up 3, B made up 3, my partner, and I'm just going to input them and see where we go from there. So let's start with my first name here, which is Salt Cove. The plan is to not really pay attention to what comes out the other end, because we want... we're going to shuffle these together and then distribute them between the 2 of us, so we don't want to, how do I say, I don't want to have information about what every card in the pack looks like in a way that B does not. So we just copied that text, so we can paste it here. Keep an eye on the formatting here. It's this like curly bracket, quotation mark this, quotation mark that, curly bracket, comma, and then that block again. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now we're going to also make sure we remove this comma. It won't work if you keep that comma there. And that should generate us a 15 card pack. I'm just going to copy this so that I can keep it for later and update from JSON string. If you noticed, probably actually I don't think it would have been visible. And here these cards are. They're here. And we are simply going to click on each one, which takes a little bit of time. It's a shame that you can't just sort of flip them all over at once, and then hit page down. This was my favorite way of doing it. You don't have to hit page down, but it is very fast. It is my preferred method to load all these cards. Let me just double check. I did that right? Yeah, I did. Okay. I've never really used page down before, but it works super well here. And those are our cards. We're going to ignore those, and we're going to move on to the next tab while they load. We're going to do the same thing again, but we don't want you to need to bother with all the stuff at the top here. We're simply going to go to show JSON and slap it in here. The reason we want to do it in that first place is to generate the formatting, because I certainly don't remember what the formatting is from time to time when I use these packs. Our next pack is going to be called Detectives of Dartmouth. Now, I could paste that in each one of these, but I feel like it's just simpler to simply recopy and paste all this. So that's what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Remove that comma. Hit update from JSON. And same thing. Page down, page down, page down, page down, page down, page down. Now, could you do this where you each get 3 packs? And they all have like the same name or something? Sure, you could. You probably would end up in like a mirror match of the same colors. We still might end up with a mirror match of the same colors. This is literally the first time we've tried this. I've played around with the deck builder and see how well it makes things, but I haven't tried this exact thing yet. Let me just duplicate that, since I'm going to need extra ones. And then the last one I'm going to make is, ooh, I forgot to copy that code. Let's just quickly jump in here and grab this before something loads. You can see as it goes, I don't know if that worked, it actually creates the card ID and sticks it in here. So it knows what it's already made. So let me just make sure that's over there. Add a block bracket, and we can change this. Okay, so last pack that I named is the Sanctuary Bird Keepers. Hoping for some flying. Then again, both B and I will have as equal access to these packs because they're going to be shuffled together and then distributed afterwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Remove that. Add the square bracket. Let's make sure that worked. Totally did. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's 15 cards. And let's move on to the next. Once again, I didn't copy this, so let's just see if we can quickly grab that before anything goes wonky. Square bracket, paste. Beautiful. The next pack was named by B, and the name she chose was Sand Swarmers. Interesting. I wonder if we're going to see any, like, deserts. Probably not, but that'd be cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I guess I don't have to, like, recopy them as long as I remember to not copy the new name every time. 1. Okay, very good. Go back to the top. I'm just going to keep duplicating this tab. Options, show deck JSON. We want the square bracket, paste. And the next deck is called, next pack is called Dead Man's Hand. I feel like that should have an apostrophe, but I'm not going to bother adding one for a few reasons. Just in case it doesn't like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think I counted that right. Update from JSON. The important thing is that make sure you remember to actually flip these cards over. They won't auto-generate. They will if you use the normal deck builder function, just not when you go in and edit the JSON like that. Great, and our last pack is going to be called Sun Cultist. Remember, don't actually copy that until I've pasted. Okay, good. Sun Cultist. Gonna open up a pack of Sun Cultist. Copy that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Remove the comma, add the square bracket, update from JSON string. Down, down, down. I think the page down thing, the smoothness of that, is really nice, but it's certainly not that necessary. If you are generating like a lot of cards per page, it can be really, really helpful though. Admittedly. All right, so we're gonna go back to the beginning and we're gonna test to see if everything looks right by just scrolling through here. If there's not a card name or a card ID, then it didn't work, and we gotta wait for it to finish loading. So now we are going to do, actually quickly, I am going to double check that my settings are right. What I basically do for this, the way that the download all button works, I don't know if you've seen that button, there's a button that says download all, is that it will download each image as its own file. So whenever I do this, I will temporarily change my download settings so that it does not ask me where to save it and just saves it in my default folder. This just is a lot simpler, then I turn it back on afterwards. So we are going to download all cards. And those are downloading. Great. We're going to move on to the next one and see if the Detectives of Dartmouth are done. They look like they are, and we finished downloading, so we'll do that again. Download all cards. Move on to the next one. The Sanctuary Bird Keepers have finished loading. Yes, they look good to me. I'm going to let that finish downloading first, just in case. I don't think it would interrupt, but download all the cards. Sandswarmers. Looks like all of those have downloaded just fine, or have finished processing just fine. What this is that when it generates a card, it generates it as like an image and plain text, kind of, and then it will render into a full image, as opposed to just the image here and then the text here as text. So it's important to make sure those are finished. Let's just download that all. I didn't do that for Sandstormers yet, did I? If I end up with 2 copies of them, oh well. I will fix that later. Dead Man's Hand looks good to me. Very good. Download all. And lastly, Sun Cultist. Yeah, those all look great as well. So that was a very quick way. Hopefully that seemed fast to you. As someone who has forged cards one at a time, it can take quite a bit of time. So this new way of doing it is really, really nice. Obviously, I don't have the control of, like, dictating each name, so I can't do that interesting sort of pseudo-draft thing where I'm sort of reacting to what I've already picked. But it means that the decks have no bias, right? It's not like this deck is better for me than it is for B, because it is purely made by the AI, which is great. And it also means you just, like, don't have to come up with names. It is, like, way faster and way less of, like, mental strain. And you might think, like, oh, that's not hard. Why would I need to, like, ignore that? It's not. It's a little bit easier, and that is sometimes all you need when you're just trying to play a nice quick game of Magic, right? So that is how that is, and I'm going to now pop these into Tabletop Sim, and I will see you after the break. Hello, B. You are live. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Yeah.
And that should probably be correct. We will double check that, but oh well. Oops, I hit space.
So I think we both know enough, like, of what our preferences is for non-including cards, know what not to include.
Yes. Oh, that's thank you, B. That's something I haven't mentioned. For anyone who's watching for this segment, generally when I forge cards, I forge them one at a time, and I will veto a card that is either broken formatting or has some other reason to not really be acceptable. And that is because I'm forging, like, 40 cards, and I want to make sure there are 40 cards worth of cards, right? For here, we are making 90 cards, right? We made 6 draft packs, and some cards are just going to not function, and that's just going to be the way it is. We're not going to look through these sets ahead of time. If somebody ends up with, like, no playables, we will address that when it comes up. But I expect both of us to get about the same number of unplayables, and we're just going to live with it. Cool?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, B. A resounding, yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are playing Sealed Magic using Urza's AI-generated cards. We have just used the deck builder feature to, instead of making decks, make packs. The packs are basically based on the idea of saying, what if Magic didn't just have sets, they also had packs for factions or something like that. Not that these are going to be, like, thematically faction packs or anything, but likely each pack is going to be pretty tight in its color identity. There might be none of one color in all of the cards we just generated. But what we did was we made up 6 names. We made 15 card draft packs for each of those names. 15 card draft packs for each of those names. Shuffled them all together, and that is this big pile of 90 cards here. Instead of doing a 6 packs each, like you would with standard sealed sounds inaccurate to say. We just made the 90 total, so 45 each, because of the aforementioned sort of focus of the colors. I don't expect we're going to need 90 cards worth of cards to have a functional deck. But the goal is to shuffle them up, split them between the two of us, just even split. It is worth mentioning, I think, that you could do a really strong Winston draft with this style of forging, but that's not what we're doing today for expediency. Once we each have our cards, we're going to deck build a 40-card deck with just whatever is there. It's worth mentioning that the deck builder can actually make duplicates of a card, so pay attention to that. We might both end up with the same card in our decks. It's entirely possible. I think that's a really fun little quirk of doing it with the deck builder. So, without further ado, are you ready, B, to build a deck?
All right, let's shuffle it up.
All right. We are going to jump to deck building. We'll see you once we're done.